எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். நான் ஒரு தமிழர், இந்தியன், and இந்த மணிமகன் of this soil. Because August 30th வந்து it's not your day, it's the day of Indian people. நம்ம தமிழ் people, it's the day of the invention of email. அந்த பிக்சர் இருக்குல்ல அந்த லெஃப்ட் சைடில், அது வந்து 14-year-old பாய், 14 வருஷம் பாய். அவங்க வந்து உங்க சன், he's the son of India, is the son of Tamil Nadu. He was an Indian who invented email in 1978. எதுக்கு இது இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் தெரியுமா? பிகாஸ் நம்ம ஃபார் 1657 வந்து பிரிட்டிஷ் வந்தாங்க. ரெண்டு இது பிரிட்டிஷ் பண்ணாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து they stole, எல்லாரும் எடுத்தாங்க, நம்ம ஜாமானெல்லாம் எடுத்தாங்க பிரிட்டனுக்கு, யூரோப்புக்கு. செகண்ட் இது வந்து எல்லாரையும் பிரெயின் வாஷ் பண்ணாங்க. அந்த பிரெயின் வாஷ் என்ன தெரியுமா? அவங்க வந்து பிரெயின் வாஷ் பண்ணாங்க. நம்ம வந்து கிளர்க்ஸ் இருக்கலாம், ஒர்க்கர்ஸ் இருக்கலாம், சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர்ஸாக இருக்கலாம், இன்ஃபேக்ட் சிஇஓஸும் இருக்கலாம். புரியுதா? You can be CEO of Microsoft, you can be CEO of Google, you can be CEO of Pepsi, but you cannot be an innovator. அது வந்து ஸ்டீவ் ஜாப்ஸ், ஐசக் நியூட்டன், மோட்சார்ட், அது வந்து வெள்ளக்காரங்களுக்கு தான். இந்த பிரெயின் வாஷிங் வந்து வெரி வெரி டீப். அந்த 8th century இப்போ ஹிஸ்டரியை பார்த்தானா, சங்கராச்சாரியா எல்லாரும் கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? சங்கராச்சாரியா வந்து இந்த பக்தி மூவ்மெண்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணாரு 8th century இந்தியாவில். அவர் ஒரு கீ கொஸ்டின் கேட்டாரு. இப்போ ஹெவன் தமிழ் எப்படி சொல்லுவீங்க? சொர்க்கம்ல இருந்து ஈக்குவாலிட்டி இருந்துச்சுன்னா எதுக்கு எர்த்ல ஈக்குவாலிட்டி இல்லை? வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் கொஸ்டின், ரைட்? இஃப் தேர் இஸ் equality on earth, I mean in heaven, why is there no equality on earth? அதான் வந்து basic beginning of the bhakti movement. So by Ramanujam, there were a great many in the bhaktas. By the 15th, 16th century, intercaste marriages இருந்துச்சு. Rise of low caste people, artisans, இவங்கெல்லாம் மேலே வந்துட்டு இருந்தாங்க. So in 1657 when the British came, அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்க தெரியுமா? Instead of imposing British law, அவங்க pre-8th century caste law எடுத்தாங்க. அதை எடுத்து impose பண்ணாங்க. So நல்ல caste system திருப்பி போட்டாங்க உள்ள. You understand? Yeah. They reimposed the caste system. Caste system was breaking down. Intercaste marriages எல்லாம் இருந்துட்டு இருந்துங்க 13th, 14th, 15th century. So நம்ம system that we have today is not even our system. It is a system that was reimposed by the British, taking India back for 700, 800 years. எதுக்கு caste system போட்டாங்க தெரியுமா? நீ you are a cobbler, you should do this, you should do this. புத்திசாலி எல்லாம் அவங்க தான். So if I asked you who are some great innovators, கேட்டானா நீங்க வந்து நம்பர் 1 சொல்லுங்க, ஐசக் நியூட்டன், ஐன்ஸ்டைன், இப்படிதான் நேம் வரும், ரைட்? ஸ்டீவ் ஜாப்ஸ், பில் கேட்ஸ். பட் சிவா யதுரை, ஜேசி போஸ், ஆரியபட்டா வரார்ல, இது எதுக்கு? இது வந்து deliberate brain washing பண்ணாங்க. deliberate brain washing. And நம்ம ஆள்களும் we followed. Okay? But 2015, today is what, August 24th? Today is the day we change that. Seriya, today we changed on the brainwashing by recognizing that 14-year-old Tamil boy invented email. It's a fact. It's black and white. அது எப்படி ஆச்சு? I was born 1963 Bombayல. When I grew up in Bombay, அப்பமே நான் caste system பார்த்தேன். நான் ஒரு பிராமன் ஃப்ரெண்ட் இருந்தான், அவன் வீட்டுக்கு போனேன். அவங்க அம்மா வந்து என்ன வெளியில வச்சு சின்ன கப்ல இன்னொரு கப்ல தண்ணி கொடுத்தாங்க. அப்பமே நான் நினைச்சேன், வாட் இஸ் திஸ்? அது என்ன ரொம்ப எஃபெக்ட் ஆச்சு. அது வந்து பாம்பேல. பட் நான் வந்து மௌஹூர்லேருந்து க்ரோ பண்ணேன், ராஜபாளையம். அங்கே வந்து எங்கள் பாட்டியம்மா வந்து ஒரு சித்தர். அவங்க வந்து 16 hours அவங்க வந்து ஃபார்மராக ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஃபார்மர் எப்படி சொல்லுங்க தமிழ்? விவசாய ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க. பட் வீக்கெண்ட்ஸில் வந்து அவங்க டோர் ஸ்டெப்பில் ஒரு 30-40 பீப்புள் வருவாங்க. அவங்க பார்த்து சித்தர் நம்ம சமுத்திரிக்கா லக்ஷ்மண மூஞ்சியை பார்த்து அவங்க மெடிசன் கொடுப்பாங்க. யாருக்கும் சார்ஜ் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க, எல்லாரையும் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்க, கியூர் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ நான் இதை பார்த்தேன், எனக்கே கியூரியஸ், எப்படி இந்த ஒரு உமன் வித்தவுட் எனி எஜுகேஷன் நம்ம இந்தியன் மெடிக்கல் சிஸ்டம் யூஸ் பண்ணி is she able to heal people. So 1970 we landed in the US. We landed in Paterson, New Jersey. Anyone know Paterson? கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Paterson is the poorest city in the United States. All black people. See, நம்ம வந்து இந்தியால we don't segregate people. You see rich and poor all together. US வந்து very segregation country. Poor இங்க ஒரு சிட்டில வைப்பாங்க, wealthy people இங்க பக்கம் வெள்ளக்காரங்க இங்க இருப்பாங்க கருப்புங்க இங்க இருப்பாங்க அப்படிதான் இருக்கு very segregate so Patterson was a very poorest city in the US அங்கதான் அம்மா அப்பா வந்தாங்க because that's what they could afford but in 7 years by 1978 Amma we moved 4 times each time we moved to the better city so 1978 early 78 I was accepted 40 students select பண்ணாங்க New York Universityல அந்த காலத்துல ஒரு professor இருந்தார் அவர் நினைச்சாரு ஒரு 50 years from now we'll need software engineers programmers so 40 students select பண்ணாங்க out of the entire United States to go to university New York University one of the best schools in the United States and the 40 students will learn software programming so I was one of the ones selected the only Indian the only Tamilian but I also studied for 6 other programming languages so at the mudichapra I wanted to drop out of school because school was boring for me but Amma introduced me to a guru or a mentor our பேர் வந்து Dr. Les Michelson he worked in a small medical college in Newark New Jersey Newark was also one of the poorest cities in the United States it's not Harvard it's not MIT it's not Stanford it's Yale it's again one of the poorest cities in the United States Newark not New York Newark 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 New Jersey so anga Newark New Jersey la and the Dr. Michelson looked at me and he immediately offered me a job. And the college, remember, I was still interested in medicine. This was a medical college. Okay? And the medical college, they had 3 campuses. Newark ஒரு campus இருந்துச்சு, New Brunswick ஒரு campus இருந்துச்சு, Piscataway 3 campuses. And the college, Michelson had put together a network, computer network, not the internet. Our own wide area network connecting those 3 colleges. And so I thought எனக்கு வந்து medical research job கொடுக்க போறாரு okay but Michelson he asked me to do something first இன்னொரு challenge கொடுத்தாரு if you went to any institution ஏதாவது college வந்து அங்க ஒரு communication system இருக்கும் அந்த communication system அந்த every officeல அந்த காலத்துல இந்த University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey அதான் பேர் இந்த காலேஜுக்கு every officeல ஒரு 1000 offices இருந்துச்சு இந்த 3 campusல every officeல ஒரு desk ஒரு secretary இருப்பாங்க சரி அந்த காலத்துல வந்து women அவங்க தான் secretary 3 jobs womenக்கு அந்த காலத்துல secretary தெரியுமா teacher or nurse அவ்வளவுதான் இப்போ வந்து ஒரு woman can be a doctor she can be a computer scientist எல்லாம் but அந்த காலத்துல only 3 jobs ஒரு womanக்கு So Michelson வந்து challenge கொடுத்தாரு he said Shiva உனக்கு ஒரு பெரிய challenge கொடுக்க பாரு இந்த whole system convert it to the electronic form convert inter-office mail system and the key word வந்து system சரியா சும்மா exchange telegraph மாதிரி இல்ல இந்த whole system ஒரு 100 features இருந்துச்சு inbound outbound inbox out all the features registered mail security எல்லாம் So அதான் நான் பண்ணேன் 14 years old 14-year-old Tamil Indian boy did this now you have to remember I was in India I was in US only 7 years 7 years before that I was in India I was still an Indian citizen so email was created by an Indian citizen so when I created email all the features பண்ணேன் 50,000 lines of Fortran code I worked day and night in a school வந்து so appa namma were very supportive second I had a good guru but அந்த காலத்துல இந்த public school system ஒரு teacher இருந்தாங்க அவங்க வந்து சண்டை போட்டு whole administration சண்டை போட்டு they changed the rules because remember now and I was supposed to be in school system rules are changed பண்ணிட்டு so I could take off from the middle of school travel 40 miles and work I was a full time worker at 14 Michelson had one rule and the rule வந்து I will let you work here but நீ வந்து professional-ஆ இருக்கணும் I will treat you as the same so the people in the office வந்து were people who were 25 30 40 years older than me புரியுதா but I was treated as an equal I was not treated less no caste system there number 1 I had to produce and I had to do good work email E-M-A-I-L எதுக்கு email கூப்பிட்டேன் தெரியுமா It's an interesting story. It's not an obvious term. Because on the Fortran language, everything had to be 6 characters uppercase. But on the operating system, எல்லாருக்கும் Android இருக்குல்ல, iOS இருக்குல்ல, அந்த காலத்துல இன்னொரு ஆப்ரேட்டிங் சிஸ்டம் இருந்துச்சு, HP RTE4 ஆப்ரேட்டிங் சிஸ்டம். அந்த ஆப்ரேட்டிங் சிஸ்டம்ல only 5 கேரக்டர் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம் application namesக்கு. அதுக்கு தான் I called it email. Again, in the term no one had used before. So not only did this 14-year-old Tamil Indian boy create the technology, but he also called it email. So if you look Oxford English Dictionary, Webster Dictionary, they have the term only after 1978. So that's number 2 fact. Uppa அந்த காலத்துல there was no legal protection for software. No legal protection. யாருக்கும் புரியல என்ன software ன்ட்டு. 1976 Copyright Act of 1976 இருந்துச்சு. And the Copyright Act legally it only let you protect music and literature, novels, or movie script அதான் copyright பண்ணலாம். 1980 the Copyright Act, by the way, software patenting இருக்குல்ல, US Supreme Court didn't even recognize software patents. That's how new software was. But remember, I'm only a 14-year-old boy. I wasn't like Bill Gates, whose parents were lawyers along. So 1980, the United States changed the law, and the Copyright Act 1976 amended பண்ணாங்க to become the Software Act of 1980. And the amendment it allowed you to protect software. 1981, I went to MIT. I was elected student body leader, MIT. I went to the president's house. Accidentally, president could have passed it in there. But it's unfortunate. Supreme Court doesn't allow you to patent software. You should copyright it. So again, I didn't have lawyers. I didn't have, enga appa amma they didn't have that much cost to support this. I wrote to the Copyright Office. They sent me the form. I filled it out, submitted it. And so on August 30th, 1982, Shivaya Durai receives the first US copyright for email, recognizing a Tamil Indian as the official inventor of email. That's what happened up until 1982. So as Dr. Karthik said, in August 30th, Digital India Foundation is hosting an event called Email at 33. And we're going to discuss the history of email, the future of email, etc. So today, there's 20,000 crore email transferred every day. 20,000 crore email transferred every day. 4.2 billion email addresses, active email addresses. In 1978, there was 2, me and Dr. Michelson. Yeah. So 4.2 billion, so email is an explosive medium. Even social media irukke, but still 10 times more electronic commerce takes place through email. Email is the medium that you build relationships with. So Amitabh Bachchan may have 11 million Twitter followers, but how many people know his email address? Very few. So email is a defining medium that defines your relationship with somebody. Okay, so email is a very powerful medium still today. So what happened? I went to MIT. I did 4 degrees, electrical engineering. I have a degree in design and art, mechanical engineering. And in 2007, I did my degree in systems biology. I was always very interested in medicine. Remember, Patiyamma, very interested in medicine. And the email was almost for a diversion, Mari. Purira? So I went in and out of MIT wanting to always do medicine. Shariya? That's what my interest. Now in 2003, I came back to MIT. I'd done 4 or 5 companies. I would go to MIT, do a degree, leave, start a company. Go to MIT, leave, start a company. In fact, in 1993, a company I started in email called Echo Mail. Completely different than email. Echo Mail. And the காலத்துல 1993 President Clinton was getting நிறைய emails. White House was receiving lots of inbound emails. So அதை எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ணாங்க தெரியுமா? உங்க மாதிரி ஆள்களை யூஸ் பண்ணி ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா ரீட் பண்ணி, மேனுவலா ரீட் பண்ணி ஒரு 147 buckets இருக்கும். Education issue, drug issue, and they put it in the bucket and write a form letter. But 1993, 5,000 emails were coming. It was doubling every month. So White House ran a contest. I was doing my PhD at the time at MIT. And the contest was, could you develop an artificial intelligence system? Artificial intelligence, தெரியுமா? ஒரு robotic system, automatically read பண்ணி, categorize பண்ணணும். So நான் வந்து participate பண்ணேன், but I was only a student still, and I won that competition. So I left MIT in the middle of the PhD, and I started a new company called EchoMail. EchoMail was made in India. It was built in India. In fact, many of the people are back there who built EchoMail. Yeah, you should clap, it's good. So we grew EchoMail to a $250 million company. All of the major brands in the world, Citigroup, American Express, used our technology to read and analyze emails. So that was one of the several companies we did. 2007, what we had created was a new technology. So if email was the electronic version of the Office desktop, I created a new technology called CytoSolve. CytoSolve was the electronic version of the human cell. You see, today, when they create a medicine, and the drug, Pfizer, major pharmaceutical companies, when they create a medicine, they take 15 years to create one medicine. Western innovation is based on divide, dominate, and destroy. Okay? Divide, dominate, and destroy. அதான் அவங்க philosophy. ஒரு பாடி எடுத்து டிவைட் பண்ணுவாங்க, அது ஒரு ஏரியாவை டாமினேட் பண்ணுவாங்க, அதை டிஸ்ட்ராய் பண்ணுவாங்க, கீமோதெரப்பி எக்ஸெட்ரா. நம்ம ஈஸ்டர்ன் சிஸ்டம் ஆஃப் மெடிசன் இஸ் நாட் பேஸ்ட் ஆன் டிவைட், டாமினேட் அண்ட் டிஸ்ட்ராய். இட்ஸ் பேஸ்ட் ஆன் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் த ஹோல், holism, holistic. Then you do combination therapy. You don't dominate, you do combination. So நம்ம சித்தர்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தாங்களா, ஒரு மெடிசன் கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க, மிக்ஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. உங்களுக்கு இன்னொரு மெடிசன் கொடுப்பாங்க, you will get a different medicine, right? Personalized. இதான் நம்ம innovation system. அதெல்லாம் மறந்துட்டோம். So நாங்க வந்து அந்த same philosophy CytoSolve யூஸ் பண்றோம். We didn't use one drug, combination யூஸ் பண்றோம். So CytoSolve is again made in India, made in Chennai. Okay? Yes, you should clap. It is your technology. It's coming from the Indian soil. CytoSolve, if email was a revolution, CytoSolve would be even a bigger revolution. We are now using CytoSolve to prove Namma Siddha medicine, Ayurveda, that proving that it works because we can model things at the molecular level. Okay? So why am I telling you all of this? You see, if you go back to 1657, if you go back to Indian history, when the story came out in 2012 that an Indian boy invented email, February 16, 2012, Smithsonian wanted all my materials because Yanga Amma in 2011 was dying of pulmonary fibrosis. Remember, the problem with Nama Tamilians and Indians is we're not good promoters. Western world is great at propaganda. Okay? Right? Yeah, right. They are excellent at propaganda, so they'll take something simple and they'll say they did it. They'll take something Marconi did and even steal innovations, when J.C. Bose clearly invented radio. If you read your history books, go to the section on elliptical orbits of planets. Adar Kepler. It's clear Aryabhatta did it 200 years ago, but Nama Indians, we don't even fight for our right to be in the history books. So he then invited one editor, one journalist, our name on the Doug Amick from Time magazine. Doug spent 3 weeks looking at it very carefully, and he wrote an article called The Man Who Invented Email, November 11th, 2011. Then Smithsonian, which is the #1 museum in the world where Alexander Graham Bell's telephone is, where Edison's light bulb is, they wanted all the documents for the invention of email. So we in fact gave them the code. Now, February 16th, a Washington Post reporter, she wrote a very nice article. V.A. Shiva honored as the inventor of email. Should have been a day for celebration, right? Yes. But you have to understand, on the 35 years between 1978 to 2012, ஒரு பெரிய company, Raytheon, $50 billion defense company, அவங்க வந்து நல்ல propaganda PR people hire பண்ணி, they had written ஒரு false story. அவங்க வந்து text messaging பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க, rudimentary form of text messaging. அதை வந்து என் term email வந்து label பண்ணி பெருசா அவங்க தான் inventor of email பண்ணாங்க. எதுக்கு தெரியுமா? Because Raytheon was in the cyber security business in 2009. They wanted to make money and position themselves as a different brand. You see, America is great at brand building. Okay? You've heard that term, brand building, right? When they do brand building, it's okay, but when we try to tell the truth, they say that's ego self-promotion. So what happened was Raytheon has its group of historians, and they fund this group. This group starts saying this Indian is all sorts of horrible words, you can read it. But they also said this curry-stained Indian should be beaten and hanged. Okay? This is in 2012. This curry-stained Indian should be beaten and hanged by his dhoti. How dare he say that he's the inventor of email? Think about that. You can be a CEO of Google. You can be the CEO of Microsoft. But you better not say that you are the inventor of email. Think about that. So what did I do? You see, they forgot that I was not just a nice, humble Indian. You see, when I went to MIT, what people forgot was not only was I creating things, but I had learned history. I studied with Noam Chomsky. I had gone to MIT to study history also. I spent my time in the library studying history. I discovered Yazık and the caste system existed. Purira? What I shared with you is from my own learnings. I learned where the caste system came from. I learned how Indians had been oppressed. There's a picture of me, if you go on the internet, burning the South African flag because MIT had investments in South Africa. I organized a student paper which made sure the food service workers got better wages. I made sure more black people came into MIT, more women came into MIT. They didn't know that I was also not only a scientist, but also a revolutionary. They thought they were just dealing with another Indian guy who they could say stuff and he'll just disappear. But that didn't happen. They made a big miscalculation. Big miscalculation. Right? We're going to bring Aunga model of healthcare. You see, the Western healthcare system was designed for war. So when the careful apatan and the invention of email slow, it's not only invention of email. It's not about me. You see, the invention of email is your invention. But when you look at Yazık வந்து இவ்வளவு angry ஆனாங்க தெரியுமா? Because the Western innovation model is based on the following. Most of their innovations are based on war, killing people. And I mean this. If you really look at most of the big Western innovations, they're based on death. So அவங்க healthcare system பாருங்க. When was it developed? It was developed during wartime. ஒரு soldier அடிச்சாங்க, his கண்ணு got hurt. How do we put him back on the battlefield? Surgery, antibiotics, steroids. அதுக்கெல்லாம் நல்லது. So Western innovation creates stuff for war. Everyone following me? Secondary market வந்து அது எப்படி ஒரு நல்ல branding போட்டு package பண்ணிட்டு civilian lifeக்கு போடுவாங்க. So now you have Apollo, Fortis, now they brand that Western healthcare system and they sell it to us. It's good after ஒரு crisis, car accident, அதுக்கெல்லாம் நல்லது. Third step that they do is they put down நம்ம own system. So Ayurveda, Siddha, அதெல்லாம் terrible. அது heavy metals இருக்கு, உங்களை poison பண்ணிரும், இந்த மாதிரி propaganda. Okay? So 3-step process. Second, I'll give you another example. Look at TNT, trinitrotoluene, explosive cellulant. World War I, that was built, Haber process, nitrogen fixation. Very nice technology for blowing up people. Okay? First market. Then when World War II ended, they said, okay, we have all these plants, what do we do? Oh, let us now put nitrogen into fertilizer. Okay? Adu pani, they created a nice propaganda campaign called the Green Revolution. So Indians all started using fertilizer. Thousands of years, Indians didn't need nitrogen fixation. We used our own organic form of farming. Then the third step was to say, oh, you Indians must use our fertilizer. You have a growing population, you need this. Same thing is going on with GMOs. And most of the media, because Monsanto and these companies pay off the media, at least in the US, India actually is a little better. But no one does any research anymore. So remember, the US uses propaganda. I always say this, what an Indian politician is ஒரு குழந்தை compared to an American corrupt politician. They're called American corruption is at a different order of magnitude. So, what I want to conclude with is saying that we as Indians should not be looking over there. When Namma history of innovation, including the innovation of email, including the invention of radio, Aryabhatta, you keep going, comes from this soil right here. You see, the wealthiest people, பணக்காரங்கள் இருக்காங்களா யுஎஸ்ல, அவங்கலாம் என்ன பண்றாங்க? They study yoga. They go to ashrams, Sri Ravi, whoever it is, right? They're eating organic food.